In Luke chapter 5 verses 36 and 37 it says, Jesus also gave them the following illustration. No one would tear a piece of cloth from a new garment to mend an old one. If he did, he would ruin the new garment, and the patch would not fit the old garment. And no one would put new wine into old leather containers. The old containers would burst, leaking the wine and ruining the container. The Lord was much criticized for his style and teaching. His mission was a break with traditional religious practices, and for this reason many traditionalist people were very hostile to Jesus, and this led to his death on the cross. This disapproval, in this context, is an opportunity for Jesus to teach an important truth. New patch on old cloth. Jesus tells a parable taken from domestic life, that of putting a patch on a dress, a piece of cloth to repair a hole or a tear in a dress. If we have an old dress damaged by a hole, we don't tear a piece of fabric from a new dress to put on the old one. The two will be ruined because the new one is torn and the old one has a patch that won't fit. The reference is not to color, but to the difference in material. One is strong, resistant and new, while the other is old and fragile. The old dress is ruined by continuous washing and time, while the new one is not. Matthew and Mark say that no one sews a piece of new fabric onto an old garment. Otherwise, the new patch takes off the old one, that is, being stronger, it tears the garment even more and the tear only gets worse. Why do Matthew and Mark tell a different version? Because Jesus probably used this parable several times in slightly different forms. New is emphasized and repeated 3 times in verse 36. Luke emphasizes adding the new garment to the garment, the patch, while Matthew and Mark only talk about the patch, so Luke adds the negative effect of the new garment and the new patch that doesn't fit the old one. Instead of focusing on the old garment, the focus here is on the new garment that is sacrificed without satisfactory results on the old garment. The new patch not only makes the old garment even uglier, but above all it also ruins the new garment. So unlike Mark, the damage doesn't just concern the old garment, but also the new one. It's absurd to ruin a new garment in order to mend an old one. Luke then focuses on the image from the perspective of the new piece of fabric coming out of the new dress. Lucas points out that the new fabric is torn, ruining the new dress, and that it doesn't match the old one. New wineskins. This second parable has the same meaning as the parable of the cloth. It reinforces the first parable and completes the thought that the new cannot be with the old. The wine was put into wineskins. Wineskins were containers made of tanned and sewn goatskin or sheepskin to hold and transport liquids, especially wine and oil. New wine indicates grape juice that has just been pressed and is therefore fermenting or is in the early stages of fermentation. Jesus says that new wine should not be put into old wineskins, because new wine ferments and causes old wineskins, i.e. used and deteriorated ones, to swell and burst, because they have lost their elasticity, while new wineskins are more resistant to fermentation. Old wine and new wine. It is clear that Jesus' interlocutors were not willing to change in order to drink Jesus' new wine, as we see in Jesus' ironic phrase in verse 39, "And no one who has drunk old wine desires new wine, for he says, the old is good." This phrase is also an ironic rebuke from Jesus to those who persist in remaining in their inflexible traditionalism and indicates that they are wrong not to accept the new, the gospel of Jesus Christ. Jesus is therefore not justifying those people who cling to their traditions, but pointing out that they don't want to change. Jesus recognizes that old habits and ways of thinking are not easily changed. It's not easy to break with old habits or beliefs. For the Jews it was difficult to leave their religion to follow Jesus. For a Jew and a Pharisee, old wine is qualitatively better than new wine, and anyone who has tasted aged wine in the right way would not exchange it for new wine. Are we prone to the new wine, or have we clung to the old because we think it's better? Lord, may we be new wineskins for your new wine. God bless you.